So, this week's Sedra is Sedra Haazinu. As children, we're frequently encouraged to memorize important songs, anthems, even the multiplication tables. Knowing these by heart is considered essential to our development as intelligent and knowing adults. It's ironic, though, that as adults, we're not asked to memorize anything. And with the advent of the smartphone, all information is seemingly at our fingertips. In the modern era, memorization seems extraneous and holds little to no value. This, though, stands in contrast to this week's Torah portion. Unlike most Torah portions, Haazinu is written as a poem, and God instructs Moshe to tell the people to memorize it. Here's how the command reads: write down this poem and teach it to the people of Israel. Put it in their mouths, in order this poem may be my witness against the people of Israel. Ramban explained the meaning of the phrase "this poem" is referring to Haazinu. It's called a poem because the people of Israel would recite it like a psalm in the Beit HaMikdash. It was also written in the style of a poem, since poems are written with empty spaces, indicating the places of pauses. Ramban, though, recorded a curious halacha regarding the poem of Haazinu. Listen to this. He says that there are places who have the custom to recite the Song of the Sea, Az Yashir, each day after they recite Yishtabach. Afterwards, they recite the blessings surrounding the Shema. There are other places where they recite the song Haazinu, poem Haazinu, and there are individuals who recite both of them. Everything is dependent on the community's custom. Now, the customs the Rambam cited are curious for two reasons. First, because almost all communities recite Az Yashir before Yishtabach, not after. Second, there's another halacha that we know not to say anything or have any interruption between Yishtabach, Kaddish, and the blessings over Shema. Originally found in the Talmud, the halacha of interrupting between Yishtabach and Baruch is found written in the Torah. He says, one who speaks between Yishtabach and Yotzaor, that's the first bracha of Shema, is guilty of a transgression, a sin, and is sent back from the front during the times of war along with other sinners because of that sin. Now, this is one example of a sin that causes a soldier to have to return from war, and it's frequently brought as an example because it doesn't present as a serious sin. If a less serious sin causes a soldier to return from war, one can imagine how stringent a soldier must be about his general conduct. Our question remains: how does the Rambam allow Haazinu to be recited after Yishtabach when no talking is allowed at that time? And when discussing Haazinu, Ramban wrote the Jewish people would always recite the poem. In my opinion, this designation of it always being sung characterizes Haazinu as a unique poem in Jewish literature. Haazinu is meant to be recited frequently. This is why the Jewish people are supposed to memorize it. The characterization of a poem to always be recited allows it to be recited even when it is normally prohibited to interrupt one's prayers. Even in a world with information at one's fingertips, the power of memorization remains. Knowledge generally comes from understanding, but it can also come with familiarity. The more one reads, studies, or even merely encounters a text, the more familiar they are with that text, and the more they begin to understand it. One shouldn't discount memorization, and as this week's Torah portion points out, it has tremendous value. Shabbat Shalom.